Alright. Welcome back to all my tiny tots, little ones, big kids, tweens, teens, everyone in between, CG slips, and adults. It feels like it's been a hot minute since I've uploaded, but I've been uploading consistently this week, so yay me. Anyway, so today we are doing chapters 24, 25, 26, and 27. And y'all, we're getting so close to the beginning. It's kind of insane, because then I'll have to go back to the first Fanfic Friday I posted and figure out which chapters we're missing. And to answer to a comment I got earlier, yes, I'll be doing Fanfic Fridays until I run out of fanfics to read to y'all. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoy, and at the end of the video I will be giving a bit more of an explanation to the Ghost Izuku AU that I posted today, because that needs a bit of a more deeper explanation in order to understand everything that's going to happen in the future episodes. So chapter 24, CGJ Schlatt, Little Wilbur. Being business partner. Yeah, sorry, I forgot if I read the title already. I think I just did. Being business partners often proved stressful for the two, although on certain occasions they would fall into a softer, simpler dynamic. Wow, can't even read what's on the page, it's fine. Schlatt would step up and play the role of father since Wilbur no longer trusted Philza after he had died at the man's hand. Today was one of those days, after a particularly long and stressful couple of weeks, filled with party planning for the nation they were running together. Wilbur was too overworked to notice that he had been forcing off his regression. Schlatt had also been too busy working and drowning his sorrows in liquor to notice either. Today, Schlatt looked up as his business partner walked into the office, clothes rumpled, looking like he'd slept in them, his eyes bloodshot with dark bags resting under them, his glasses and beanie. Wilbur's two signature fashion items were missing as well. Schlatt noticed the worry and stress lines etched so clearly into Wilbur's face and felt guilt. He was a little CG and hadn't noticed that the boy was so stressed out. Schlatt got up and took the paperwork from Wilbur's hand, setting it down on his desk, before carefully taking Wilbur by the arm and sitting him down on a nearby couch. "Will?" Schlatt asked. "Will?" he asked again, snapping his fingers in front of the boy's face. Wilbur finally snapped out of his daze, his eyes unsteadily focusing on Schlatt. "Hey, bud, did you sleep at all last night?" Schlatt asked quietly. Wilbur shook his head before laying it on Schlatt's shoulder. Schlatt chuckled lightly, moving his arm behind Wilbur and gently rubbing the younger's back. "What do you say we go back home and get you a warm bath, some comfy PJs, and a nice long nap?" Schlatt murmured as he pulled Wilbur into a comforting hug. Wilbur nodded again as he slept, falling rock hard. Into little space and immediately submerged into baby space. He tried to speak, but his words caught in his throat, soft whimpers and whines leaving his throat as he began to panic, never having slipped this far. Schlatt picked the younger up, cradling him and rocking him side to side, whispering gentle praises and reassurances into the little's ears. Wilbur quieted down relatively quickly, and Schlatt began walking out of the office, stopping for a moment. At the secretary's desk, to tell Quackity that he and Wilbur would be gone for the day. Now back at home, Schlatt quickly helped the little get undressed and into the warm bathwater, helping him to wash up and relax, playing silly, mindless games with the younger. Wilbur babbled soft nonsense, giggling as Schlatt played peekaboo with him. Once done in the bath, Schlatt helped the little change into his favorite fluffy PJs before carefully tucking him in. He cooed lightly as the little gripped onto the front of his shirt, passively slipping from his mouth just a bit. Schlatt offered a smile in return, and lay down beside the boy, humming a soft lullaby. Chapter 25, CG Niki, Little Technoblade. This one's kind of awkwardly written, so I hope y'all enjoy anyway. Techno and Niki had lived together for a few months at this point. They were best friends and had known each other for years after meeting on a Discord server. Niki, of course, knew of Techno's regression and looked after him whenever she wasn't busy. One day, while Niki was streaming, Techno was sitting in his room. As he felt himself slip, he changed into an oversized hoodie and some looser sweatpants. He flopped his hands happily as he noticed his sweater paws. Techno grabbed his passy, sippy cup, and sensory cube before quietly making his way out of the room and out to the kitchen. I'm sorry, that just messed with my brain there for a second. To get some juice. Techno carefully grabbed the jug of juice out of the fridge and placed it down on the counter with the sippy cup. He then opened the juice and poured some into a sippy cup. Once done, he put his lid on his sippy cup and the juice, then carried the juice back over to the fridge and placed it back in its original spot. Techno toddled back over to the counter and grabbed his sippy cup. The surface slightly wet from the cold floor of the juice. His grip faltered for a moment, the cup slipping from his grasp and hitting the floor with a thud. Techno's hands flew up to cover his mouth as his eyes widened. His mama would be mad. He wasn't supposed to be loud when she was streaming. Her viewers didn't know they were living together. He quickly picked up his sippy cup and did his best to run back to his room and slipped into the closet, curling in on himself. Meanwhile, Niki had heard the thud come from the floor below. She was confused per se. A spam of question marks came up in chat, and Niki quickly thought of an excuse. Oh, it must just be my cat, she murmured as her mind raced. Was it actually Techno? Had he gotten hurt? Was he little? She forced a small smile. I'll be right back, chat, she said before muting her mic and turning off her face cam. She made her way out of her office and down the stairs. The noise had sounded like it was coming from the kitchen. Once she entered, though, she found no sight of Techno or anything out of place. She walked on the kitchen island and found Techno's sensory cube on the floor. So he had been here. She quickly looked around, worry crossing her features, fearing the worst, finding no sight of him on the main floor. Niki headed back upstairs to continue her search. She walked up to Little's bedroom door and knocked softly. Tech, Bubs, are you in there? Niki asked. In response, she heard soft sniffles from behind the closed door. Her heart ached, wanting to go and comfort the boy. She knocked on the door again before slowly opening it. She found no sight of Techno in his room, but as she continued, she found his discarded passy laying a few feet away outside the closet door. A small smile graced her face as she reached forward and opened the closet door. Inside, she found her Little curled into a ball, tear streaks visible on his face. She knelt. Or maybe kneeled, I don't know. She kneeled down. I feel like that should be knelt. She knelt down by the mentally younger. Yeah, that sounds right. Hey, Bubs, what's wrong? She asked quietly. Ad. Techno whimpered. Why would I be mad, sweetheart? Niki answered, confused as to why she would be angry when he had done anything wrong. Optimum, Sippy, and Aid wild boys. Techno mumbled. Niki smiled reassuringly and folded a little into her lap. Aw, sunshine, Mama's not mad. She was just worried you had gotten hurt, Niki murmured, kissing the top of Techno's head. Techno looked up at Niki, his eyes wide. Mama not mad? He asked. Niki nods and peppers his face with gentle kisses. Nope, Mama's not mad, sweetheart. In fact, she's so very happy that she gets to look after her baby. Niki smiled again and lightly tickled Techno's side, causing the Little to laugh loudly. Aw, there's my happy little prince, she murmured as she scooped him up into her arms and walked out of the room, making sure to grab a clean passy, his favorite stuffy and blanket, and a sippy cup on her way out. Back in her room, Niki sat back in her chair, Techno leaning into her as she wrapped his blanket around his shoulders and slipped a soother between his lips. It's all right, sweet boy, Niki murmured as she ran her fingers through Techno's hair, reaching for her headphones with her free hand. She put them on and turned her mic and face cam back on. Sorry about that, chat. My cat knocked something over onto the floor and I had to clean it up. She apologized. Let's get back into it, yeah? She gently ran her fingers up and down Techno's spine, listening to the rhythmic sound of her little sucking on his passy combined with the soft music she had playing in the background. Techno leaned into his caregiver, feeling safe and content. Niki smiled, continuing to stream and talk quietly to the chat. Techno fell asleep, Niki's soft voice soothing his nerves and making him quite sleepy. His eyes drooped closed as he tried to force them back open but didn't have enough energy to. Eventually just letting them fall shut and falling asleep, his head resting on Niki's shoulder as she pressed down keys and ran her free hand up and down his back. Around 2 hours later, Niki said goodbye to her chat. She ended the stream and thanked the mods from her DMs. She closed out of everything and shut down her monitors, taking off her headphones, laying them down onto her desk. She grabbed her little's favorite stuffy and sippy cup and gathered them in one hand, and then lifted both herself and her little up out of her gaming chair. Techno stirred a bit, whining softly as she stretched and walked down to the kitchen with the little. She placed the empty cup in the sink and returned to the upstairs, laying the little down in his bed and tucking him in. Good night, Bubba, she murmured. Mama loves you. She got up to leave, and as she felt a small hand grip onto her shirt, she turned back and found Techno holding onto her, his eyes small slits as he yawned sleepily. Mama, eh? He asked. Niki felt her heart melt. Mama will stay, little one, she murmured in response and lay down beside Techno. The little snuggled into her side, head resting on her chest as he drifted back to sleep. Niki smiled, running a hand through the little's hair, while softly humming. Before long, she too was yawning. She let her eyes fall shut as she continued to gently caress the little's back, falling into a peaceful slumber. When Techno woke up almost 3 hours later, he felt much more energized and no longer sad. He looked around and saw that his favorite stuffy was resting between him and his mama. He carefully picked it up and hugged it to his chest. As he sat up, he yawned, rubbing the remnants of sleep from his eyes. Before softly babbling to his stuffy. Around 30 minutes later, Techno carefully crawled off the bed, toddling back over for a moment to readjust the blanket around his mama to make sure she was warm enough. Once he was done, he smiled and toddled over to his wooden puzzles. He carefully opened one of them and dismantled the pieces, laying them all out on the carpet in front of himself. He started to put them into their correct places, and quickly completed the puzzle. He let out a little giggle and quietly clapped his hands together. He did it! Niki woke up. She turned, looking to her side, and didn't see Techno. Her eyes widened slightly as she quickly sat up. Where had he gone? She heard soft laughter from a corner of the room and turned her head. She sighed in relief as she noticed the little sitting on the floor. And building one of his many puzzles that he had collected or received over the past few years. Niki got up and walked over to Little, sitting down beside him. Hey, Bubs, you're doing a great job. You're so smart, she praised. I apologize, y'all. I think I'm getting a cold. Into my ribs. Ow. Made no sense. Okay, I think we're good. Chapter 26, Sick Day, CG Dad's a little Tommyinnit. So, content warning, there is a brief mention of vomit and mostly babyspace, raccoon, boyo, aka Tommyinnit. So I hope you all enjoy, and I probably will add a part where you can just skip past that little detail about him throwing up. I'm really sorry about that, and I'll give y'all a couple seconds to just kind of skip that beginning-ish part. Phil awoke to the sound of footsteps slamming down onto the hardwood floor past his bedroom. He quickly got up, hand drifting towards his sword, that he heard the bathroom door hit the wall before the sound of liquid hitting water. Phil felt worry dug into his heart as he quickly threw back his covers, getting up and sprinting towards the bathroom. His heart slowly broke as he saw his youngest kneeling on the floor, dry heaving. Tears stained the young boy's face as Philza rushed in, kneeling down beside him. Tommy laid his head in his father's lap, tears not yet slowing. Appa, Icky. Tommy whined out. Philza ran a hand through the boy's dampened blonde curls. I know, sweetheart, he murmured, placing the back of his hand to his youngest's forehead. Is it alright if Papa picks you up? Tommy nods, whining a bit while doing so. Philza picks the younger up, cradling him in his arms. Shh, it's alright, sweetheart, Papa's got you, he murmured as he walked back towards the younger's bedroom. He carefully lays the younger boy down, wrapping the boy's blankets back around him. I'll be right back, sweetheart, Phil said before walking out of the room to grab the younger some medicine and a damp rag to help lower the boy's temperature. He dug through the medicine cabinet, looking for the ibuprofen, finally finding it, and then looking through the drawer for a measuring cup. He found it and opened the bottle of said medicine, pouring the correct amount into the measuring cup. Phil then grabbed out one of Tommy's sippy cups and his favorite juice from the fridge. He poured some juice into the cup before mixing the medicine into it. He closed up both the juice and the sippy cup before returning to Tommy's bedroom. Upon walking in, the younger sat up with a soft whine, making grabbing hands towards the altar. Phil felt a small smile grace his face as he entered and set the cup down on the bedside table. Let's change you out of those icky clothes, he asked quietly as he walked over to the younger boy. Tommy nodded with another soft whine, and Phil picked him up, helping him to change into some cooler clothes. Tommy babbled softly, feeling sleepy as Phil fed him his juice and rubbed his back. Tommy's eyes drooped shut as he slowly fell asleep, finishing his juice, and his body now exhausted. Oh, thank goodness we have water. Chapter 27, CG Technoblade Little Reviver. The shock of being brought back so suddenly made his body ache and his bones creak. He was in so much pain. He'd hit the ground hard upon coming back, and now all he could do was curl up into a ball and cry, dropping into his little space hard. That same morning, something was bothering Techno. He wasn't sure what it was. He had fed the dogs. Everything was cleaned up and organized. The cabin fully stocked with goods. He let his eyes stray to the far corner of the living area. Wilbur's little space things remained there, sealed away tightly in duct tape boxes, all situated under or in the crib where the little used to nap, while Techno worked on potions or read. He felt tears fill his eyes and forced his gaze away, locking those memories back up. Then Fran ran into the room, headbutting against his leg. He looked at her confused. Fran, what is it, girl? He murmured as Fran headbutted him again. He ran his hand through her fur as she quickly ran back the way she came, stopping at the doorway to make sure Techno was following. Techno quickly got the hint and followed after Fran. After pulling on his boots and cape, he sprinted out into the snow, following after his beloved companion. Then Fran stopped. Techno slowed to a stop as well, feeling his heart drop to his stomach as he took in the sight before him. Wilbur was lying in the snow sobbing, curled in on himself and his fingertips turning blue. Techno let out a small gasp before quickly rushing forward and pulling the sobbing little into his embrace. Hey, it's alright, sweetheart, Papa's here, Techno murmured, rocking side to side as he whispered soft reassurances in the boy's ears. Wilbur's cries slowed, soon coming to a stop as Techno stood and began walking back towards his house, though it wasn't as far as they were in the middle of a village. Once back inside, Techno wrapped the nearest blanket around his little, resting him on the couch for the moment, as he quickly cleaned everything out of the little's crib and made quick work of remaking the bed and disinfecting everything. He then skipped the little up, picking out some soft PJs for the little to wear and quickly changing him, respectfully, of course. He tucked the little into the freshly made bed, carefully slipping a between the little's lips. The little latched onto it relatively quickly. Techno dug through one more box, looking for Wilbur's two favorite comfort items, his stuffed whale and a specific blanket. He found them and placed the whale plush by the boy before gently laying the blanket over the boy as well. He made sure that the boy wouldn't be able to kick his blankets off easily before leaning down and placing a gentle kiss to his forehead and murmuring a soft sleep well, kiddo, before leaving for the kitchen. Techno quickly made up his mind and started to work on a simple and familiar Sloop. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Soup. Sorry, y'all. They, Wilbur and Techno, grew up eating this type of soup, and Techno hoped it wouldn't be too difficult for the boy to eat when he woke up, whether big or little. After around another hour, the soup was done. Techno left the heat on low and returned to the living room to read his book, getting up occasionally to stir the soup. Almost 2 full hours later, Wilbur awoke with a small whine and large yawn. Techno set his book down carefully as he looked over at the younger. Hey, Bob, sleep well? Techno murmured as he lifted the little out of his crib. Wilbur cocked his head to the side and babbled something out, which vaguely sounded to Techno like tree, child, small, grass. Techno just smiled and nodded like he knew what the little was saying. After a bit, he set Wilbur down in his old high chair in the kitchen. Are you hungry, kiddo? Techno asked quietly, leaning down a bit to look the little in his eyes. Wilbur babbled a bit more, and Techno smiled, moving around the kitchen island and over by the stove. He put some soup into the little's bowl, then made him up a bottle of warm angel's milk for later. He then returned to the seat in front of Wilbur's high chair and sat down, helping to feed the younger until his bowl was empty and the little's tummy was mostly full. Techno smiled as he looked up at the boy before him. He was glad that Wilbur was back. How about a nap, sweetheart? Techno murmured, honey lacing his voice. Wilbur nodded, his eyes barely staying open as Techno lifted the little out of his high chair and walked back into the living room. Techno sat down in the rocking chair before the fire, placing the bottle of angel's milk to the little's lips before beginning to sing a soft lullaby. The little quickly finished his bottle of milk, his eyes continuously sliding shut, only to pop back open at the last second. Techno noticed this and brought the little upstairs to his actual bedroom. He got the little changed into some pajamas, a soft, fluffy, ocean-themed footy, and the little's favorite pasty, a dark blue with a whale on the button. Papa's Explorer on the handle. Techno carefully tucked the little in, pulling his blankets up over him and making sure he had his whale plush. Techno leaned down, kissing the little's forehead and whispered, "Good night, little one." He turned to leave when he felt a small tug at his sleeve. He turned, eyes widening, when he caught sight of the little's eyes filled with unshed tears. "Papa's even?" Wilbur whimpered. "Papa's not going anywhere, sweetheart," Techno murmured as he lay down beside the little. So that's the end of that one. Thank you all so much for listening. So, now to get kind of more into the AU that I'm working with for the unjustified past. Sorry, I had to, yeah. So the original idea, which I started writing I don't know, a month or maybe I don't know, it was a lot of months ago. I'll be honest, it was a lot of months ago. And so the original idea was that Izuku was so Izuku was originally an inmate at this prison, and his older brother, in this case it's Shinzo, and a group of his friends decide to go visit this prison. Being dumb kids they're bored, they want to do something. So they go to the prison where Izuku is held, and Shinzo ends up finding Izuku's ghost and having a conversation with him, right? That's the part you all know for the basics. So it's meant to be more of a murder mystery almost. So as time goes on, you find out more and more details to the original story of what actually happened to Izuku Midoriya, as he was framed for murder. And we all know Izuku, he's a sweet cinnamon roll, he wouldn't do that. So that just kind of explains that a bit more. Also, I might be taking a break for about a week. I'm not entirely sure yet. It's just with this cold coming on, I want to beat it back before it actually full on comes over me and I'm rendered with this really bad cough. And I know I've just started uploading again consistently, like every day. So I can't promise that this break will actually last, or that I won't post on days where I'm supposed to be on quote unquote on break. So yeah, but I hope y'all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Feel free to leave me suggestions for chapters because I'm running out of ideas. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Farewell for now, little ones.